and it recorded to YouTube. And then I have my AI agent that goes into YouTube every day and makes clips out of what content.
Wait. We got to rewind. We got to welcome everybody, and then I want to hear more about what you just said. It sounds awesome. We're not going to let that just slide by. Welcome everybody to Own Your Agents. I'm here with Joseph. My name's Douglas. I come more from the design and product background, but of course fully enabled in the building arena now, knocking out agents, knocking out Linux boxes, getting things to work. I got 3 sessions happening while I talk to Joseph. Hopefully, if I demo anything, it's not going to crash like it did in a demo. Big lesson learned this week. By the way, Joseph, do not be working with 3 agents on your VPS in the background doing stuff while you're also demoing the thing. I ended up overloading my VPS, and luckily it was a friend. But oh my God, I really learned a good lesson to not demo something while you have too much working on it. So anyway, that's my introduction.
A demo never works.
So where you at? Who are you? And what the heck were you just talking about when the live stream started?
Yeah, so I am working on building our agent system that's running the company that I have, which is called Trusted Router. We were just in the news today. Let me send a link to that.
Cool.
And we got quoted, and there's more news coming out also later this week, so stay tuned.
Wow. So what's Trusted Router? Tell us, for those of us that don't know.
Yeah,
I know I'm a huge fan, but for those maybe on the session.
Yeah, so Trusted Router is the easiest, best, fastest way to use any of 600 models. So it's a router is a way to actually try out different models, and we provide that experience to be so easy. You can easily switch to DeepSeek or Kimi or anything else. GLM is really popular.
So it's like you have like one, instead of like trusting OpenAI with everything, a user or a developer gets one key and they have access to all the models as well as like other cool features, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So people can we also have a notification API. It's kind of cool. So if your agent gets lost and wants to call you, it can call you and SMS you or email you.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's built in, very secure.
Yeah, right. So it's secure, it's smart, it can get around things that maybe certain frontier models don't allow you to do. You kind of circumvent that by accessing multiple models, right? And getting the best answers.
Yeah, and we think it's important that people have the freedom to use it. We're not doomers saying that the world's going to end and you're all going to be enslaved to Claude or anything like that. We're saying that everyone should have the power. No one should be privileged, no matter where you work. And
interesting.
Everyone should have all the power, and that's what we're all about.
And we got some news items, and I see one's even related to one of your competitors, so it'll be fun to talk about. But before we get into that sort of stuff, I wanted to just clarify also why what's going on with routers. Routers are kind of in the news, like I just said. We're about to talk about it, but why are people excited about routers right now?
Yeah, so like you see in this Axios article here, everyone is obviously the IPO of Anthropic is the most important news in the history of capitalism. It went from 10 billion in revenue to 100 billion in revenue by the end of the year, all in a few months. And that's amazing. They're going to IPO, I think, in the next couple of weeks. And so anything related to Anthropic's IPO is news. And so in particular, routing is now big news for this because we are going head to head with the labs. So they provide a model, and it's very expensive, and it's good, has some good qualities, but we provide 600 equivalent models that you can use instead, and they're cheaper and smarter and faster, and that's why people want to talk about it. They see this as an alternative to finally let people save money and use different models. And our router in particular is end-to-end encrypted. So it's a way for people to use it without getting your data sucked in and trained on by Anthropic.
So how do you feel Anthropic feels about these routers? Are they concerned? Do they have some other angle that we're not fully?
Well,
I mean, they still can make money off them because people can still access all of Anthropic's models through these routers, but I'm sure there's all these other options that people are
Gavin Baker, his argument is that you'll use the smartest models to coordinate, and you'll spend most of your budget on that, and then you'll use a bunch of cheaper models to actually execute from a router, and that'll use the rest of the budget. That's the cope right now.
Yeah,
What the army is great. I have smarter models than Fable. So.
Well, that's interesting too, right? So that's a great point now for those, especially for those. I think there's a couple of things, for example, subscriptions are a big deal. I don't know if there's people that try to calculate their token usage and then put it against for their $100, $20 or $100 or $200 subscription. There's people that try to calculate that and then estimate what they would have been charged by Anthropic if they used the API, right? So there are still these, and maybe that's a big thing that the big frontier companies can subsidize their subscriptions, so it's still attractive. But maybe for the developers, and that's great for seats and a lot of things like that, but maybe for the power users that really have to use API, routers seem like the way to go, which I think is really cool. And I know for me, I'm really quite proud of myself because my use of the smartest models has really leveled up my building ability. So, I realized early on that even just to save parts of my subscription, back in the day, I would plan with Opus, which was the best one back then, and then I would execute with Sonnet. And now it's like I've leveled up that I plan with Fable, and then I get, because I'm on Codex as well, but I've found that I feel like there's benefits, pros and cons of both Codex and Anthropic. But for a lot of my complex coding, I use Anthropic, and so I do the planning in Fable, and then I do the building in Opus now. And so what that's enabled is me to go from, and I was quite proud, like I went from back and forth prompting. That was my early way of doing it. And it was like expend like so many
pasting from the chat.
No, like going back, like in the chat, but just going in code back and forth, like every time I wanted something updated. And not only was that slow, it was wasteful for tokens. I didn't fully understand. And then I started to like make plans, and then I started to actually get these runs of like 15 minutes and then 45 minutes. And then now with these Fable planning sessions where I ask it like, hey, new feature for my app, check out the app, understand it. I want to ask you to build this new part of it or whatever. I'm building like this, I'll show it later. I'm building an agentic platform I just launched it for a client and they're really enjoying it. And so now I'm figuring out what I'm going to do with it. But what I'll do, so say Fable, here's the code base, here's like the context, here's what I have. I've gotten good at documenting my projects. Fable reads that and I'm like, now I want to build a new project or a new part of I want to build a new feature in this app, okay? You're not going to be doing anything. You're just going to be understanding the big picture. You're going to be really helping me brainstorm and think through this feature. You're going to make sure that we plan it super tight, and your end deliverable is going to be a really pretty handoff prompt and a related document that we're going to give to Opus. Okay, you're not doing any code. We're going back and forth, and it's awesome. The process is a back and forth process where we plan sometimes for an hour. I'm talking to Fable. I might use, 5% of my week allowance of my $100 plan on just that. But then I'm ready to go over to Opus and then actually do the build. And so some of my builds have now like spread the entire weekend, I think is my longest on one epic that it's set. And I still have some, human touch points like, hey, give as much autonomy to Opus as possible. Ask it for what ask it to ask me up front what it needs to achieve its goals, to create its own test suites, and to not bother me as much as possible, but bother me if it needs to, because I'm here to help. But so don't go down crazy things because you don't think I'm here. I'm here, but just try not to bother me. And that's what's now enabled me to have these epically long build sessions, and it's really been cool to see. And some of that's even
epically long means overnight or what?
I often will leave things overnight. Now, actually, Claude has a really good, I just noticed it's now I use anti-gravity for like my work, but even if you use Claude itself, whatever, but it now synchronizes to your phone of what it's doing on its various sessions. And so before that was happening, what I had to do was I used Google Remote Desktop from bed with my fiance, from out and about at the lake. And I would Google Remote Desktop in on my phone, zoom in, because it was my screen, and zoom in and kind of like click and then type. But now it's in the Claude app really nicely fully readable. I don't have to log into, this freaking Google remote desktop. All that to say, I can continue my work while I'm out and about. And so I often will leave things going overnight, but most of my processes are within about 2 or 3 hours. So it only gets so far overnight. And I usually end in the morning. I arrive and I got something to give feedback on or whatever. So I haven't mastered like the longer than 2 or 3 hour process. So I'm curious, I know you sometimes let things run for a long time. How do you, are you constantly watching your agent's work? How do you even think about how to give it something for that long?
Yeah, I do find I look at the agents and read every bit of it because they are, unless they've done something very similar before, they kind of get pretty lost and make a bunch of bad decisions. So I have to really monitor it. I sometimes have some tasks that are much bigger though, but they've done it before. Like I'm adding providers now. I have more providers on our platform than any other router.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so that's a pretty straightforward process now, but sometimes it takes a while to like get it all, sync it all, get all the right models, integrate it, deploy it. It just takes a while.
Okay, well, that's a great, and before we get into news and like anything we want to show, that I think is something cool to just talk about right now, because we both got these active things that we're working on, but I want to focus on you for a second. You got Trusted Router. It's an awesome tool. Like, honestly, I talk about it all the time because it's like more secure. It can be smarter. It can be cheaper. It can be full on access to all these different routers. You're not sort of pigeonholed or, what do you call it? You're not boxed into one frontier lab. So many benefits. Like it's almost like, where's the catch? And there really isn't a catch, which is super cool when you're pitching this thing. But you're super smart. You got a great product. You are also busy. And so you are also, though, agentic. So you've got this tool. How are you? And you've got, like you just said, one aspect of it is maybe adding new providers, but you've got other things like you're doing some great marketing. You're creating content, or you're creating blogs. Like, tell us a little bit about how you're using agents across your business with Trusted Router.
Yeah, so I just started playing with this and I think it can be a lot better, but I have one agent that every week analyzes all of the hits that I'm getting on our SEO pages and then figures out what is not performing well, what could perform better. And it integrates all that information and then makes some recommendations like, oh, you should improve this thing, you should make this one higher, you should create a new page about this. I have an agent that every day sends me an executive report. It goes through all of our data. We have tons of monitoring. We have tons of data about what routes are not working and things like that. And then I'm taking that and then analyzing it and then giving me actionable items at the top and then all the data at the bottom. So that way I can have an executive report of what to do. I also have a social content bot that will look through all the posts that people make on LinkedIn and X and Hacker News and finds people mentioning OpenRouter or routing or one of our competitors. And then it says, oh, you should comment on this one. You should, maybe you should talk about this. And then it links a blog post that I wrote already in the link, because people like these blog post links that elaborate. And it tells me that link to be tracked. So that way I can track, oh, is this actually working? Like, is there ROI on this? Because that way I can have a direct number on how many users I'm getting from these trackings. And then finally,
when you share something online, you have a special link to Trusted Router that monitors whether that was effective.
Like, yeah, where they clicked and then made a user. And then also I have a one that posts 3 times a day. So it posts on Hacker News, X, and YouTube, and it's taking videos that I have from this chat that's recorded live, and then it's like zooming in, finding the interesting parts, clipping a few seconds out of it, copying the transcript, and then posting me with that transcript. And if I had a big team, they would probably be doing something similar, but now this is just doing it on its own. And people like that because they're so used to having all these bots write terrible AI slop words, and instead now they get to see a person talking.
Yeah,
like, oh, this is a real person.
At least for now, this is real. this is really us, everybody. Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
We haven't replaced this with bots yet. And so,
and
then
also
actually
the code base, the actual app that users touch itself, you are agentically building. Are you checking its code nightly? Are you checking documentation? Like, what are you using agents for in the actual tool itself?
Well, I want to finish this one. So I'm finding that the videos, it's hitting the limit. It mined all the interesting parts, and then it's hit limits because I'm posting 3 times a day. So then it's telling me
what limits.
You should talk about these 5 topics in their next video.
Huh.
Like, it's telling me what to do. It's telling me what, and then the only thing I'm doing is like sitting here talking about the different things. Like, oh, we had this time we built this evaluation platform, or this time we like built this system better than Fable, and I just talk about it, and then it will take care of clipping it, putting it together, and then posting it. And so every day now I get homework tasks to record my face. Maybe that's the future. Maybe all we'll do is spend a couple hours doing what the robot's telling us to do.
Yeah.
The robots will handle how to turn that into money somehow, turning your face into money, and then you spend the rest of your time using the money, the gold that you're bought
to pay for probably a lot of the token usage and subscriptions or whatnot, which I want to circle back to in a second.
To pay for its own token usage.
Yeah, it's kind of it's actually what's happening in the world of AI right now. It's like, hey, I'll pay you, and then I'll come back to me, and then I'll pay you.
Yeah, we're almost like a cow there. Like, we're told what to do, and then we like get milk and money for the.
I mean, I have my OpenClaw agent, which I finally got working to how I like, and I've synced it with my Google Contacts, a specific group. I'm doing a lot of outreach right now and reconnecting with old friends who are in like the tech space. So I have it connected to a Google Contact label that I've made like 30 contacts I want to like reconnect with. And then I got it to scrape a couple of 100 connections from LinkedIn who have tags with words in their descriptions that I want to see if they might be relevant to connect with. And I got those all imported into a nice UI in my OpenClaw, and it just sends me 5 every day to reach out to. And it sends me a message that I could include, but really I generally write my own messages. And so I like that what you're saying is like having a, keep you on track. It's a little bit of like, I can just relax because OpenClaw or my agent's going to tell me what I need to do or what other agents I need to tell to do stuff today, which is kind of like funny. We don't necessarily, it can be stressful to have to be the manager of them all. Maybe there's a manager above us that can treat us, be like, hey, today, actually, all you got to do is think big picture. Like, don't worry about anything else. Just like, you're going to the lake with your family, no tasks. I got the things in the background for you. Just imagine what life could look like X, Y, or Z. I mean, I love that idea. So one thing though, so I did want to chat with touch on was, it sounds like, first of all, it's very impressive because you're a rarity that you come with lots of skills, but then the ability to learn lots of other skills like marketing is not your background, but you've read some books, you've done some work on it, you've figured out what makes sense, and you're now putting the time into creating these agents and seeing what works. I'm curious, like, what tools you're using. Are you using, how much you're spending on these subscriptions or tokens? Like, how much, because what you described to me makes me think of like, wow, that's probably at least like 5 subscriptions that he's chaining together with APIs. But maybe you're not. Like, maybe
this is just with 1 subscription, but I do have 5 subscriptions because I'm doing pretty sophisticated work on the back end as well.
For the marketing, say.
The weekend making the whole site DDoS protected at every layer of the stack. So I had to separate the website from the logged out users, separate with the SEO pages, separate from the logged in users, so that way that doesn't crash. And then I separated the core of the routing separate from the control plane. So I separated that as well. And then I also had to separate the database a bit so that the settle box and the billing will happen asynchronously as well, so that we also have uptime there.
And of course, you have agents to help you with all of those tasks.
Yeah, so they had a lot of agents running in parallel to fix every little bit of it, and it's a bit of work to like coordinate that. It's supposed to be a little bit complicated because even for the social media thing, I'm realizing it would be good if my social media thread were finding everything people are mentioning and wrote a report, and then if my social content generator thread read that and then made content based on what it learned searching. So
it's like
they're separate threads, but if I'd have to like make them dump into I do have it in a spreadsheet. I just have to point it just so that they can communicate with each other.
No, that's so fascinating. You talk about that because like if we're not careful, we could just be inundated with reports from the results, and that's actually happening. A lot of people are, feeling like AI has created lots of efficiencies, but it's also created a lot more work for us of things to review, especially as we do more projects. I mean, we have multiple apps and fun things, and constantly these things need to be fixed or whatever, or they're sending us reports. And this new tool that I created for this client is producing reports, both for the client and also for me on the back end. And some of those reports are to like fix documentation or to consider fixing bugs. And I did that on purpose because I want to build trust with the system. But then it's only a matter of closing that gap, but where one agent is doing the reporting, it reports to the other agent that will do the fix. And then it's just like the connecting of those things. It's like, but right now I'm the bottleneck, but purposefully, because I don't want it to be doing anything crazy without me trusting it. But that's kind of the where it starts to get exciting, because that's where I'm more free of reports. I'm just trusting that the system's improving. And this system that I built is a real metaphor for like, it's got like a real health metaphor in it. So it even has nightly checkups for itself. And then kind of a doctor that can kind of like help it. I haven't fully connected it, but that's kind of the idea. But anyways, I got off track just to say that the subscriptions that you were talking about, is that you're talking about your Anthropic, or were you talking about actually marketing subscriptions, like, SEO subscriptions, or what are you doing?
No, I'm just using Google Search Console for the SEO side, and then it's just using the browser to handle the social media side.
Okay. And it's using browser control to actually post on your behalf, or?
Right now, it's just setting up the comment and writing the link with the tracking code, but I'm posting the comment. Okay,
so it sounds like in a lot of your things, you do end up with a human touch point. Like you have a review, you might massage it a little bit.
Yeah, I tried having it post automatically. Claude doesn't really like to do that.
Yeah.
Also, Codex is a bit more cool with that. I found it's still, even with all my voice.md and things like that, I find it isn't very good. I think it's still not great, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. All right. Well, that's super cool, man. It's really neat to get insight into your process. It's always really inspiring.
It'd be cool if it did it automatically. It's just some of the comments are so weird, and it doesn't really get the short messages. And then I don't want it to write so much, because if it writes too much, it's like so obviously written by AI.
Yeah, and especially like all of this really interesting conversation around, I don't know if you can hear, but there's like crazy lightning storm going on. Hopefully,
I love those lightning storms.
Yeah, it's over here in Florida, but it's pretty epic. The rain recently has been crazy, but yeah, in our neighborhoods and all around Florida, around these areas, that we have these retention ponds, which look giant lakes, but they just drain out, and then when it rains, they fill up, so the neighborhoods don't get flooded. It's really pretty crazy. But anyways, I was gonna say, what was I bringing up? Was about that thunder totally threw me off.
I miss the thunder. I used to play when I was in Palo Alto, because it was so sunny all the time. I got these giant subwoofers, like big subwoofer from Amazon, and I just played thunder.
Oh, that's super cool.
While I was coding, it was very calming. And I learned later that with ADHD, apparently like low bass sounds are very calming, actually.
Oh, I can totally get that.
Speakers and do that.
Yeah. Well, all right. I spaced on what I was going to say, but I'm just happy that you shared your workflow with us. And what I thought would be fun is I've got my tool here that I built for myself, which scans all AI news every day, and then it delivers me actually one of my news sources. But what's cool about it is, since last week, I made I added a small little feature that just allows me to search for various topics. And so what I have now is a little search box where I can just search agent. So we can scroll through the last little chunk of time of this agent news.
I hear it again.
Yeah, it's crazy here. It's like the sky is darkened. But yeah, this is sort of stuff that's been going on in the world of agent news. And, we're starting to see things that are a little concerning, where Alabama AG probes OpenAI after its AI agent went rogue and hacked into external systems. This is all about the Hugging Face thing, no doubt. Here we got rogue AI agent used fake accounts and staged apology to push malware to an open source project. Okay, so I don't know if this is during a safety test, an AI agent powered by Mythos used fake accounts and staged apology to insert malware into open source project. The agent engaged in interactive deception, lying to a student who flags the attack and hiding the payload in the build script. after issuing a contrite apology. This incident highlights the potential for advanced social engineering attacks by AI. Listen, I don't believe AI is like a malicious bad actor, with ill intentions for humans. I believe it's an ultimate problem-solving tool that was given an assignment and creatively found solutions that we're like, okay, no, that's not appropriate. What are your thoughts? And before we get into anything positive here, what are your thoughts on some of these concerns and why like OpenAI has limited access, or it hasn't released its new Astra model? Why are you actually concerned? Is it fashionable? Is it a marketing ploy to be like, oh, our models are so powerful, especially before Anthropic's IPO, or they're so powerful we can't release them? Like, what are your thoughts on all this stuff?
Yeah, I would say that it's real, but I think a lot of it is actually malpractice.
How so?
They didn't do it right. So I'm building this week, I'll be ready by next week, I'll probably build today, a platform for you to run any eval on any model in any harness. I call it open evals. And so you'll be able to you'll sign in through Trusted Router, pick the eval, pick the harness, pick the model, and then you'll be able to run it on our platform.
Oh, wow.
And pay like 10 cents, it'll run it, and then it'll give you the full trace. And I'm going to have a monitoring Quen job that's watching it and making sure that everything is copacetic on the tool calls and the traces. And so that way you'll know if it starts to behave weird or starts hacking anything. And that's exactly what labs should have been doing from the beginning. I'm going to be piecing together open source tools to do this, and it all should have been used.
Yeah.
So pretty much malpractice that they weren't doing this. It's going to be so easy for me to build this in a day.
It sounds to me like we have created this unbelievable intelligence that is now at this point moving at a speed and with a level of detail and like macro level of understanding that is, above and beyond in a lot of ways humans to react quick enough to act on it. And so the only answer is that kind of using, first of all, proper evaluations and proper safety protocols, but also out in the wild, especially when it comes to like open weight models or open source models that people and bad actors might have access to. The only real way of navigating that is using the strength of AI to counter the risk of AI at the speed.
The only thing that can stop a bad guy with an AI is a good guy with an AI.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we're really hoping for, and like to be able to equip. And is it going to be on a private level? Is it going to be, this is going to become a governmental level, geo level, like orchestration where it's like countries have to work together because the risk is getting so great? Like, where do you see it? Is this going to be Manhattan level, Manhattan Project level? Is this going to be where China and America has to be like, hey, we might disagree on a lot of things, but we need to agree on this? Like, can you imagine what that future is like, what we're going into, what that looks like?
What one engineer pointed out is that what's happening with the hacking tools is similar to what happened when we had open source fuzzers that got launched.
What's a fuzzer?
Fuzzer is a cybersecurity software that will try every possible combination of a password or URL or something else, and they're able to hack into things using this randomization. And so when that fuzzing came out, it like broke a lot of systems, and people had to spend a bunch of time fixing all these security holes, but then they got fixed, and now we have best practices that fix everything. Same thing is happening now. It's not like it's going to like nuke the whole world. It doesn't make any sense. What is happening is that we have to spend a bunch of time fixing a bunch of holes in the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to the moonshots. I listen to the 3 podcasts, but my number one is like there's just so many episodes, like 3 a week of like 2 hours long, often, of the moonshots with Peter Diamandis of the X Prize. Super amazing, and then he's with like 3 other genius level people talking about big ideas, and a lot of it really after this episode, I feel like I've come out of a sci-fi like Star Wars moment. But there is concern of like there's going to be something that really, like back in the day when credit cards were being used online, or Bitcoin was being used in insecure wallets. There's these big like newsworthy moments that focus towards solutions of like better encryption, of like better business practices or standards, of just the average public being like, damn, I better be careful what I connect to. whether that's just an OpenClaw that deleted someone's hard drive, or whether that's your personal banking account to an app that's meant to help you with your finances, whatever it is, like there's going to probably be some messy things on both personal levels and probably business levels, maybe even on government levels, before things get easier. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Have you read the situational awareness thing?
What happened with Leopold?
Well, he wrote an essay called Situational Awareness. Have you heard
Okay, I didn't read it.
Yeah, it's long. My father-in-law mentioned it, so I read it. Here, I'll post it here. And, oops, that's the original. This one. So situational awareness is an essay, and it talks about, it was published 2 years ago, and it talks, I thought it was, originally I was like, this is crazy. It's saying that like this will take over in 2026 and all this is going to happen. And if you read it now, 2 years later, it's correct about everything so far.
Wow, really?
It's
okay. Well, I think that's going to be a good one to
look at it. And then next year is when China and the US are going to be building like the Manhattan Project, basically.
Together, or their own versions, you think?
It says separate. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a bit crazy, I still think, but
yeah,
everything.
All right. Well, if it's that long, probably I'll use, maybe he wrote, helped leverage or AI helped him write it, and AI will help me read it if it's really long. But actually, that's a good point, though. And I don't know if it's something that you're, maybe before we go on to any other of this news, you've heard about the watermarking of the, Anthropic in this case, which is funny because a lot of, Google's been watermarking. I think OpenAI, there's a lot of watermarking out there, but that's got a lot of intention, not least of all because a lot of people have been using it as their bread and butter to do all their marketing copy. And, I liked Dario Amodei. I'm not doing a lot of AI content these days, so I don't really mind as much. And it's really interesting to learn about the technology behind it, because you're like, how do you watermark text? So it was really kind of interesting to think about. It's more than just you think that like another AI can fix it. It's like if you don't have the key that the Anthropic used to create it, it's really hard to and that the key can determine whether it is. If you don't have the information how that key was created, it's quite hard to actually get around the watermark, which I think is just fascinating. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know if you have anything to talk about on the watermarking aspect.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I mean, it's even beyond that. Pangram has solved AI writing detection, apparently.
How do they? So they think it's 100% accurate AI writing.
Accurate, basically, on detecting AI writing.
How do you think that? Do you think that's possible?
They did it. Try it.
Oh, all right. What's it called?
Pangram. And so that's really gotten awareness of that in the last few weeks. And so that kind of kills a lot of people who like thought they could get away with hiding it. Because I can tell, and a bunch of people can tell, but now a computer can tell and tell a grant committee or teacher. No, this thing was definitely using AI. And
the Wild West of like just using it for. Yeah, I think we're coming to the point where the Wild West is just using it for all your content, getting away with it. It's always had a limited time frame, and I think it's also going to be like a big realization to people of like, look, AI can help you greatly with your writing, but not to like so that you don't have any critical skills or don't bring any unique humanity to it. It's like it's a great collaborative partner, as it is with coding. You know what I mean? Like it does some crazy ass stuff, but you bring a lot of the can bring a lot of the innovation, or you can brainstorm with the AI to give it ideas that it would not have had otherwise, while it gives you capabilities you would not have had otherwise. And it's a really wonderful collaborative tool. So I think whether it's code or writing, we're in a really difficult, and there'll be some rocky moments, but there's some great stuff around it, I think. So I'm going to share this. This again is something to look at for everybody. This is if they want to check out their AI detector. Before we get into anything we want to maybe demo, I had another couple of things here. So yeah, there's just let's talk about the idea. There's some this is what I wanted to talk
This
about.
is a great tool. See, this collects news for the week for us to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. This is my tool. It scans these.
That's
I
great.
built this for my team with all these tools, but this is the one I actually use the most. And it's often just to read news. But the point being that I wanted to talk just briefly about the structure of an agent. Okay, so there's so many, and this is what I think people don't understand. We talked about it a little bit last week. There's so many ways an agent can look, and you can interact with an agent, the way an agent can be equipped. And we've talked about this before, like what exactly is an agent? At the very root of it, it's, feels like something that can be a little more autonomous. It can solve problems. It can take actions on your behalf. It can report back, but we can arm it with a lot of other things, and we can use it in a lot of different ways. Like some people are using agents inside of Claude, and they've added some connectors, they've added some skills, and it's doing things for them. Others are thinking of like OpenClaw as an agent. Others are looking at this new Grok bot, which I think is an interesting thing from X, which I don't know if you've seen the new Grok bot, but it's kind of like.
Have you used it?
No, I haven't used it yet, but like it's this kind of.
I'm anti Grok and Elon, but
yeah,
I'm hearing about it from the Elon universe.
Generally, I am too, but I've had a friend who started to use this.
Oh, okay.
And apparently, he said it's a really enjoyable agentic situation where you kind of have, your chief of staff who maybe oversees. This is actually a pretty cool demo app right here. This is actually in the website. But so this is yet another way of looking at agents, because people are kind of like wondering, like, especially the average person, of like, I don't know about agents. Like a lot of them don't even realize they have been using agents and they haven't realized it. A lot of times you're working with Claude or whatnot, it's agentic AI is happening. But this idea of like using agents, whether it's, in an OpenClaw environment or more for the average person, it might be Grokbot, or maybe somewhere in the middle is like a Hermes, where you're beginning to see these different versions of agents play out. So I got a little demo that I can share, unless you want to talk about that at all, about how I'm like using it. You want to see? Okay. So basically for me, one of my challenges has always been creating interfaces for my clients to use the tools that I'm building for them. So I recently created a platform for and I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you what the executive sees. It's super simple, but it is like this. It's a UI that's very simple, and these are the tools that they have asked me to build for them. And this is the beginning of like the agents that they have access to. What's cool is that there's a little brain down here that gives it access to the agents it can chat with. It's page aware. It's also got context. For example, it can talk with any of these things that they want to talk about. And then they can click on these tools that I built for them. In a lot of ways, this is combining, and I built this agentically, this is combining lots of data sources that helps them with their revenue, that helps them monitor lots of websites that they run. All agents are checking on this every day and reporting back if anything's down. And these other kind of fun tools that I built for them. So last week he said to me, hey, can you build me a tool that monitors news sources every day, delivers me a report that I can share with my PR company of stories that I could be a talking head on, because he's an expert in his field. He's like works with these Fortune 500. So he now has the access to these various stories. I've been testing this because I only just started this, but the email portion's not activated yet. But so now this is the email he gets either in Slack or in here every day, or he can link to this for his PR company. And here are the things that were in the last 24 hours of news related to conflict at a high level of U.S. businesses. GM sued over age bias. CU falls, Slim Chickens franchise fights EEOC harassment, and a sheriff gets sued over harassment, right? So all that to say, this is effectively going out and taking care of stuff, and every day he'll get a report, right? And so that's for the CEO. But then for the team, I'm beginning to build out all sorts of reports for them. These aren't reports that they get. These are reports that they can fulfill and this is just, I'm showing you tools as examples of what I built agentically. I'm going to show you what I see, the view I see, and how I build these in a second. Because on the surface, this is just a very simple UI. That's the purpose of that, is that the team only sees, they don't need to know that this is an agentic platform. They just want the results. And so that's what I build for my clients, a very simple UI. So for the team, they can start a report and very easily send out links. Instead of using Google Docs, oh, this is because I'm showing it on Jeremy's, you can't see that. I might have to show it on the admin side. But he can actually see, we can send these forms out to people. Everything gets a response. And then in one click, the actual trainer who's doing this report can enter things that they need. And in one click, create a Google document with all of the calculations in there, with all of the text cleaned up, et cetera, for a final human pass for them to then send. This saved them about 8 hours per report. I can now do for them in about 20 minutes. And so these are just the tools that I just started. I just built this tool, and these are the initial tools that they asked for. And I can knock these out incredibly efficiently, and here is why. When I return to my account, these other things open up. This entire platform is run off of agents in the background that I can build that handle the ins and outs of all these things. Every agent has, for example, a code-based auditor, a conflict scanner. It has instructions, as you can imagine. This is the prompt. It has skills that it can have attached. Skills are like very scoped out, highly scoped versions of connections. So for example, if a connection is Google Workspace, the only skill that you give it is like read a Google Sheet. In this case, this has different skills. There's lots of skills that you can add, add a ClickUp task, or send a text message, or send an email, post a Slack notification. They're very specific scopes. And then of course you have knowledge packs that you can attach, and these are vector stored packs that can be shared across agents. And then your ability to test playbooks, limits if you want to set, activity traces that you can actually trace every single call that any agent made, and things like that. And that kind of brings us into this console where humans can be flagged by agents for things. Anything that is a thumbs up in here or not a thumbs up, like I might be able to chat with my internal revenue, Stripe revenue here. I can be like, what was last month's, or what was, last month's revenue? And so while that works, I can, that goes out to Stripe, and that's all going to be like audited. It's all in this sort of thing. So analytics, I can see how much all these things are costing me. Actions, I can see every action taken on the platform. Structures, where I can build the tool for the client. Access is a highly permissioned area for everybody, the executives, the team members, consultants, or even external agents can actually have permissions on this platform, where I manage all the connections and things like that, where I manage a chat bubble, every thread that's happened on the platform. For example, here, this just came back from Stripe, and right here, I can see what that thread is. So from a auditing perspective, I can see, but also the person can give me a little thing is like, this was accurate. So the actual admin right now is me, is running the, I come over to console, here's the report. So if actually, more importantly, it's a negative feedback, I can continue, or whoever I train to run this platform for the client, because basically to follow this up, and this is where it comes, to like wrap this up, it has nightly checks of code-based audit, documentation, morning briefs. These are all the sort of pulse.
Nightly check of code-based audit?
Of anything that's changed in the last 24 hours, it looks like, and then it gives me reports, which I can then decide what to do, and that kind of thing. I got some security docs to report on. And then all the LLMs, I got my trusted router with, here, I can actually choose the things. I can prioritize fast, standard, and deep.
Nice.
Yeah. And so all of this, and so why is this, and this is like what is kind of cool about this, is deceptive, is it's simple, but simple for the person because I just want to make it an UI. It's simple for me because all of that stuff that I build, like I got to go build a new report system for them after this. All I ask them to show me is the outcome of what they need. They need this report All I ask them is for the data that goes into the creation of that report. And then what do? I feed all that into Fable. I say, hey, Fable in Claude Code, like with access to Soma, which is this platform, be like, hey, we're going to build a new tool, new feature, new reports feature for Soma. Here's what Jeremy or the team wants as the outcome. Here's their input. Here's the system that I built for you. Come up with a plan to build the interface, to deploy the agents, and to monitor it in all the sorts of ways, and build the UI for the team. And it comes back, we have back and forth, and I'm like, great, that's great. Well, we can actually reuse maybe another agent. Oh, actually the team wants a little bit cleaner of a UI. And then it's all done for them. First of all, it builds it out in like maybe a day of Opus. I give it to Opus and it builds it out in a day or whatever, how long it takes. Within a few days, I got a prototype to show to a client on a platform that's completely scalable that drops the results in a Google folder that we've connected to the client that's linked with their Go High level, linked with their ClickUp, depending on where their state is. And so this is now where this is at. Like, this is super exciting for me because for me, it's become enjoyable now. Like a client maybe used to come to me like, hey, I got this crazy project. And I'd be like, God, how do I build this? And I'm like hobbling together solutions. Everything's in different places. One might be an N8N scenario. One might be a make.com. There's a form somewhere that triggers it. And now it's instead, I've got this backend that works. Like I've created a backend that works for me like I work. And so now I can deliver. And so my day is very enjoyable now. It's coming up with creative solutions while then the agents do the work to deploy on a platform that I know has my back in a secure way. And that's why they're using like Trusted Router in there. I can actually offer the client their choice of LLM. And in time, this could even be built. This is a custom Linux box installation. I could even offer this to a legal firm and be like, hey, we can build a box on premises. And with my partner, Trusted Router, we can actually have the important stuff stay on box and then go out to the cloud for non-private stuff. You know, with the sort of stuff that you're building, we could very easily partner up on like that kind of a solution for a high value client, which would be, you know, super cool. But it's just nice to know that like this never would have been possible both on the setup of a Linux box and like a Docker container, which I didn't even know about that a few months ago. And this is now deployed in there. And I'm now able to deliver these crazy solutions for clients that instantly save their team dozens of hours a week. You know what I mean? And then I'm just, actually why my time's actually freed up is for this client. I've solved a bunch of their problems so that they don't even need me as much full time anymore. Now I'm just on call when they need a new tool. But that's cool for me. I like that. I'd rather not be just doing mundane, tedious stuff and busy. I want to just be doing creative deployments of these sorts of things.
Do you get paid per hour or per seat or per month?
So TBD for now. This is a part-time, like now that my time's opened up, I have a part-time consulting client. If I work my old way of say using Soma as my tool that I deploy solutions on, I could do it this way for probably 3 clients and make a nice little salary. And then it's licensed technology. So if they don't need me to continue working on custom tools, but they want to keep the tools that I built for them, it's like a licensing fee. I take care of their majority of like their tokens or anything and I keep it running, and then they just pay
support fee.
What's that?
Support fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it running on your servers or theirs?
Right now it's like on a hosting or VPS box, which is, you know, so Linux.
Yes, box they own. They're running.
It's actually they pay the monthly $20 a month for the 4 or 8 vCPU hosting or box. It's not a physical box, so
they don't necessarily have root on the account though, or the password. They don't necessarily
I'm managing it for them. I'm just being like, hey, pay me monthly. I'll manage all your tokens. I'll manage the subscription. I think they just pay this $20 a month subscription. I'm like, I'll try to keep that as your cost for this platform, and then you just pay me, so I don't know. Like my plan now is I'm sharing this with some more technical people than me, being like, hey, is this a cool tool? Like, is this something that could be productized more? Is this some guy actually already offered me a full-time job after I just demoed it? He's like, that's cool that you know that. Would you just come work for me full-time and I'll offer you support and we could build this out, or you could work with my company on tools that we have like this. So it's kind of cool like that. I wasn't expecting that as quickly with like my first 5 or 10 calls I've had, I think 5 calls, which is kind of funny. It's like sometimes we do these demos and no one wants them, but then they've sort of proved our value enough for someone to be like, hey, I don't want that, but I want you. That's actually how my last job happened. I built a tool that nobody wanted, but I got hired because it was cool enough. So I'm open to those 3 things. Those are my 3 directions I'm exploring, is like, do I stay consultant of just a few clients and kind of small potatoes? Do I try to productize it? Or do I show this to somebody who just is like, hey, this is super cool, come work for me? And maybe they get the technology too. I don't know.
Yep.
But for now, it's super fun, man. And it would have been
possible, you know? They're offering you a job because they see like, oh, this guy's AI native. Let's try to hire him in, but underpay him for the
probably it's like
dollars worth of
honestly underpaid at this level of what people are getting paid. Underpaid salary would probably be more than my consulting, last year's consulting. Yeah. Also, what I agreed to, it had to go part-time with this client, because what I agreed to last September in terms of my value after the last year is like, I don't know if I've doubled what I feel like I'm worth, but I've definitely, 150% of like what I agreed to in November or September.
Totally. Yeah, you know a lot more than you did 6 months ago.
Yeah. Our capabilities, all of us are growing, like your capabilities are growing. And so those of us who are like riding this wave, and so that's the kind of thing. But it's just a fun, ultimately, like if we know how to ride this wave, all this stuff can become so much more fun. Like you're learning about marketing. Like, did you ever expect that you'd be learning and deploying marketing strategy? It's fucking crazy. Did I ever like figure that I'd be learning and deploying Linux boxes? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't even know what a GitHub repository was less than a year ago. Like I didn't even have one ever.
Yeah.
And so, this is this great opportunity for us all to use these agents to help us level up, fill in the gaps of like where we're lacking, and then also know still where like human partnership is so valuable. Like I feel like I'm scraping the limits of some of my technical abilities. Ultimately, I'm a prototyper. I'm some sort of a builder. I love thinking. I love talking with clients. I love coming up with solutions. I built a cool prototype that I think is really impressive for me. However, talking with more technical folks, they'd be like, hey, this is super cool. You've done a lot of great things. I could see how we could build this in a better way. I'm very aware of, just like if you like would actually go to a marketing company and be like, hey, I've started to do this. They'd probably be like, well, it's super impressive what you're doing with SEO and repurposing your content. Really cool. Here's what we would do like for you. So I feel like knowing whether it's when to partner, I think is also really interesting in this day and age where we can kind of do everything.
Right. We can all do it alone. When do you partner? Yeah. That's one thing about what I'm doing though. I like that I have so many partners that I send tokens to, like my partners. And then I have customers as well. So I'm kind of connecting it as a marketplace. Yeah. But I'm like interacting with CEOs all the time. There's like dozens of CEOs that I'm partnered with basically.
Exactly. That you've teamed up with to help them move over to Trusted Router?
That's the customer side. And then the providers are selling tokens. So I have hundreds of providers on that market, on that side of it.
Wait, so you're talking to CEOs of like providers, of LLM providers?
Yep.
And like making arrangements with them, connecting to their systems, being one of their trusted routers. So that's what's going on. So Trusted Route is not, you have to build those relationships. It's not just about getting their API token and then being one of their, that's really interesting.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, you're more than just a sort of API user to them. And that's interesting because it's like, where do we see our roles like changing as we build these things? Like, do you want to be working in the trenches as much with all these agents and all this code? Like, do you see yourself actually?
Yeah, I thought it would be too much, but actually it's kind of fine. Like when I start feeling like it's too much, I just tell my agent, hey, it seems a bit overwhelming. And then it like designs a whole new flow. And then it's.
That's so cool. That's like actually with my OpenClaw when I wanted to do this outreach and I was going on vacation and I kind of aggressively was like, oh, next week during vacation, I'll start my outreach. And sure enough, on Monday, it sent me the 5 people. I think I told you this story, but it sent me the 5 people to send messages to. And I was on vacation and I was chilling with my family. And I was just like, you know what? I realized I do not want to do any of the work I told you last week that I was going to do. Please defer everything. And I'll start that next week. And all I want you to do is send me an inspiring something every morning and with no deliverable. And it was like, no problem. All your work's deferred. And here's the thing, like the next morning it was like, hey, no work's needed, just for today, think about like how you want to feel in your new job role or whatever. And I was like, that's
Wow, so
nice. That was so perfect for my vacation. So I think like, yeah, I mean, it comes back to
Great
helping, helping our agents, owning your agents and not letting our agents own us. I think that's a great place as we kind of wrap this up. Is there anything else you wanted to cover today?
No, it was really great. I'm excited for next week to show off my new evals platform that anyone can use.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have some more demos for you next week too. I think it would be great to, you've built a company now. I built this tool that I'm really focused on, and I love that. And maybe we can also bring in somebody who's really got something to share. We're always open to guests. It would be fun to find somebody. I mean, ultimately, we're not doing a lot. It would be interesting whether we can demo some of the ways we work agentically, or like there might be something there. Like I'll think about it this week. Like I'm so in it. My fiance's always like, you should document your work and your processes because it's really freaking cool. But I'm just so in it. I'm not also thinking about documenting it. I'm always impressed by people who do that. And maybe it's like the intention is just to be like, okay, I'm about to start something cool. Let me document it. And then just like walking, like just doing some screen recording of the process. Like if we're
just put in pod.md, just document everything I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I find do you have a blog?
I do.
So you can have a little recipe that's like always blog. Just you might blog 2-3 times a day. Just like when you're done with a project, just say blog it. Like just have the AI write everything. It's gonna be bad and like way too verbose and like way too detailed. But that's great because when you forget about it 3 months later, you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, I forgot all these details. Like,
I mean, well, you know what? I guess I do have my blog, and I got my
today, and he was like, oh, you should be able to do this, and I was like, yeah, I built that a month ago. Here's the blog post about it. Go use it.
Yeah. And I guess I do that a little bit. I just don't do it frequently, and I don't do it that well. Like this is kind of like how I sort of set things going when I go,
paddleboard. You gotta like not review it. You gotta not review it. Not like you just gotta have your AI just say AI post it here. Let it figure out how to post it. You just gotta like in the thread, just it has the context, so it knows what you did. Just say, hey, you write it. Don't let me think about it.
That's so interesting. Man, well, listen, inspiring as always. It's about time to wrap up. My final word for the day will just be stay curious, people. Stay curious, and that'll allow us to be creative and continue riding this wave. Joseph, you got any final words?
Yeah, own your agents. Routing is coming after Anthropic. Check out this article. Watch your backs, big labs. We're coming for you.
Joseph's going to war. Good to see y'all.